Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Yeah.
Martial arts chat.
My man B-Hop got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's give me up.
See what filming this? You've got a face for radio.
I've got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Martial arts chat.
Martial arts chat.
Hello, welcome to Martial Arts Chat Podcast. Roundtable is back. We're looking ahead to UFC 243 in Australia, headlined last style being the Adesanya and Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. Thank you to everyone who got in touch, question in the comments for tonight's show. Before I introduce the panel, just a quick shout out to our sponsors, A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. Local and national gyms in the UK, do yourselves a favour, check out a1fightgear.com. If you want to get in shape, get back in shape, and go to beastgear.co.uk and use the coupon code MartialArtsChat. If you do that, you'll save 15% off your purchases for core sliders, straps, barbell pads, strength and conditioning programs, all at different levels to suit your needs. Beast your goals with beastgear.co.uk. We're also sponsored by Feel Supreme. FeelSupreme.co.uk offers CBD oil and natural nutrition. They will assist your progress in diet and lifestyle, natural supplements and complementary services such as yoga, mind coaching and weight cutting programs. Finally, we're also sponsored by World of Martial Arts Television. Woma.tv produces, finds, acquires, commissions and presents all you ever wanted to know about martial arts. And so to our panel here this evening, delighted to have him on. Love his chat, man, from Micks Martial Arts Podcast. It's Mr. Mick Tully. Mick, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. Finally, we get down to meet, man. Everything's conspired against us this week to get this round table together. I blame Trump, I blame Brexit, I blame Boris.
That's the go-tos.
I blame Greta Thunberg. Yeah. I blame Twitter. Yeah, man. How dare you? Yeah. Anyway, I better stop before I start getting online. I get trolled to fuck, man. Sorry for swearing. Yeah.
We're coming to all of that in space, man. Awesome stuff.
How dare you?
How dare you? Oh, she's coming up in the questions for sure, man. Don't know how it's made in the Martial Arts Chat Podcast, but it has. But we'll look forward to it. Also helping our brother out once again from Newsome MMA. I love this guy, man, Mr. Kieran Cobley. Kieran, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good, man. Cheers for having me back on. It's always a pleasure to be invited on. Absolutely. I know it's all been a bit last minute getting this one sorted, but it's this main event it's looking like a hell of a fight.
For sure, man, for sure. Finally, we've got another legend returning to the show from the MMA shower. It's my man G. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. McElroy and fellow panelists. It's always a pleasure to come on your podcast, and I'm enjoying the content you're putting out, so keep it up.
Thank you so much, sir. And guys, this Saturday we're down under. I've got 3 fights picked out to preview with you all before we get into fan questions, and Megan Anderson and this bizarre women's featherweight division. We're not Chris Cyborg now, but Anderson 1 and 2 in our UFC and gets a debutant in the Santos, a lady I don't know a whole lot about, I've got to be honest, but I imagine the UFC still looking to push Anderson. I might be wrong, but I think that's still the plans for this lady. I'll start with Kieran on this one. Kieran, is Anderson, is she being carefully matched here? Do you think maybe the Santos, is she someone to watch out for?
I don't know too much about DeSantos. I've not really had much time to have a look into it and have a look at the style, but with Anderson it seems very much like the UFC wants to push her. They want to push her as a big Australian star. They've already got the Australian stars like Whittaker, Adesanya, and they want the female star now, and it very much seems like she's not keeping her end of the bargain going. I mean, 1 and 2. Is there even a division for her to fight in now? It seems very much that she might just do the fights left on her contract and they'll cut her. I think that's probably the best way they're going to go about this, because I don't think she's championship caliber. I think it's very much, this fight just seems much, just give her a fight because it's in front of her home crowd, and just let the home crowd go and give them something to come and see. Yeah, the nationality booking, I guess that's the idea behind it, isn't it? But you're absolutely right about the featherweight division, man. I mean, there is no featherweight division. It's just, it was there really for Chris Cyborg. I think I've said this a couple of times in the podcast, and now that there's that void, I don't really know what they do. I mean, it's just there for the sake of being there, I really think, man. Mick, how about you, sir? Your thoughts on Anderson?
Again, it's literally just they're creating they're just creating a star, for that market, for that territory. I think. Don't get. She looks the part. That's the one thing. But it's like you were saying. I was just checking it out online earlier, and first of all, that division's like the World Hide and Seek Championships. You know what I mean? Literally, it's. I just it's a division that doesn't really exist, So it's going to be. For fans who are going to watch it, it's going to be great. And obviously, when you're trying to build a business, and I'm going to sound like I know what I'm on about when it comes to media. But when you're building in all these different foreign territories, that you need to get people to go behind. And the days of getting Elvis Sinisic to come out on the Elvis throne and that are long gone. And unfortunately, me personally, as Australian fighters go, it's a bit of a sidebar, but I used to love Beck Rawlins. I did, because she was absolutely woeful. She was terrible, but she always turned to go for a fight, and she always looked like every. I'm going to alienate if there's any angry lesbians listening, but she was like the stereotypical angry lesbian with a load of really cool tattoos on her, right. And you're like, she was really enjoyable to watch, but she just couldn't do it. And I Megan Anderson, if you get that shave cut and a few more tattoos, then maybe Beck has to watch out. But you can't really be serious about this one, because it's you're trying to create something that isn't there. But from a business point of view, it's a no-brainer, especially down under. I hope I haven't devalued anything there, but unfortunately, I have no filter. Years of Thai boxing has meant that now I just say exactly what's going through my mind.
That's a disclaimer, right?
Some people say it's a blessing, some say it's a curse.
There you go, man. That's it. Finally, G, how do you see it going down? Women's featherweight division, and some thoughts on Anderson.
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair. Dos Santos, 245 pounds, ex-heavyweight champion. Sorry, I've got the wrong. I thought it was Junior Dos Santos.
Nice one.
Those fights with Kane. Right?
I'll tell you what, old UFC style, man. But Art Jimerson's going to come in a minute with a boxing glove on one hand.
Well, that was my way of saying I know nothing about Dos Santos, Zara Farin Dos Santos, but Megan Anderson, our Antipodean friends are, having a resurgence. We've got a Kiwi champion and we've got an Aussie champion in the main event. So Megan Anderson, maybe they're trying to make the Ronda Rousey of the Down Under. So I think it's a push for her, and she'll probably win, because I don't know much about Dos Santos, to be honest.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Let's move on then, guys, because we've got co-main event, and Reginald taking on the Hangman Hooker here. Kiwi go back to winning ways, smashed by Barbosa, but that doesn't make we're not. Probably, I was more of a fan of him after that fight, I've got to be honest. Reginald coming off that loss to Cowboy earlier this year. Some people hinted that was at the fight of the night here, but we'll see, man. I hate to put that jinx on it. That could be fight of the night, because often when I do that, it's going to be a stinker in it. But let's hear the guys' thoughts. We'll start with Mick this time. Your thoughts on how these two throw down, mate?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this fight, to tell you the truth. I just think that, as we said earlier in the week when I messaged you, I think Quinto. I just think that the higher his output's going to be savage, man, and his cardio's that good. I think it's just going to be too much for Hooker. But I reckon first round he might lose, but then second and third, man, he's just gonna go to town. It's good. I really think this is going to be a great fight. And that's me personally. I think this is right up there. I can see why it's a co-main event, to tell you nothing but the truth. I really do believe that this is going to be a good one to watch. And both of them. But Al's always good. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I think it might go. I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go the distance, or Quinto may pinch it. But it's going to be a great fight.
I always hear about Quintus, with the Serra Longo connection, about how good his ground game is. I mean, we know his wrestling's good, but his submission ground game, and I would like to see that come to life in this fight, if not, the very next one. I want to see it, man.
Well, you see, this is the thing. Unfortunately, this game's a mad game because you hear about this guy's got a really underrated. It's always the same thing, isn't it? I don't want to sound like Goldberg now, but it's like he's got a really underrated. I know. You know that thing where you hit each other with those things on the end of your arms, game, But it's I'm being a bit ridiculous here, but sometimes when you if the fight plan, if there's a game plan there, you don't get to showcase your skills, because the win is the win, and I think Al's going to get it. No, that's what we're hoping anyway. That's what Paddy Power's getting off me. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, man. Don't gamble at home, kids. It's not fun. No, what's it? Stop when it becomes not being fun. Also, I don't listen to these guys anyway. I'll just keep gambling. Anyway.
Top man. Gee, how about you, Ali Quinta, Hangman Hooker? Who you got in this one, mate?
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. For some reason, I think that maybe it's their toughness. I would put them in a similar style matchup. They're probably not, but from a toughness perspective, they've both got that kind of aura. Quinta, he's in a delicate position in his run to the title. He's obviously had that weird match for the title against Khabib. I think he had 24 notice when Pettis wanted too much money and someone else dropped out and blah, blah, blah in that crazy week. So, Quinta, it seems like he's got pretty much, like you said, he's got, from what we hear, and I think he's shown it a few times, he's got a very high-level ground game. But he seems to have all the heart to go with it, and standing up, he's got very good boxing and footwork technique. And Dan Hooker is very tough as well, but I'll give it to Quinta because of the experience, and he relishes the big time, and that fight he lost to Cowboy, I think, would have hurt him quite a lot, so I would give it to Quinta.
Yeah, I'll be looking to bounce back for sure. So will both guys, I suppose, but you're quite right to mention that, mate. Finally, Kieran, your thoughts on the co-main event and a pick, if you please, sir.
I mean, it's a hell of a fight. And I mean, Quinta's wrestling, we all know how good it is. And the fact he's got that Ray Longo and Matt Serra connection where those guys are just going to give him a hell of a jiu-jitsu training camp. And if they can get a good game going where he can get the fight to the floor, get a submission in, and get a win, it'll do him wonders, especially after the defeat against Cowboy. But Hooker's got something there for me. I don't know what it is, but there's a little voice in my head going, "Pick Hooker, pick Hooker, pick Hooker."
Right.
No, that's pick a Hooker. Don't listen to that, man. You'll end up like me, man. You'll be in a sexy mixing clinic. I'm telling you. Don't listen to those voices.
Yeah,
it'll end up like Hugh Grant. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But Dan Hooker, I think there's something there. This is a huge fight for him. Hometown crowd, co-main event of a UFC pay-per-view. I mean, he's going to come out all guns blazing. And I think he could take it. I think he's going to take it by decision, though.
The decision, man. I mean, I hear that a lot, that this is going to go the distance, and it seems to be set up for that. It seems to be set up for, both guys are so gritty and so determined in the style that they fight. I mean, just look at his losing effort to Barbosa. Like, he was still, he wasn't feigning and coming forward. He was eating kicks that most guys would have wilted under that pressure. And Ali Quinta too. Raging Al, it's not his fault, but that fight with Masvidal, man. I mean, Masvidal should have won that fight, but it didn't stop him pressing and pushing and his corner telling him all the right things moving forward, and he's got that determination as well. Yes, it's going to be some co-main event, and the main event, just as good if not better, man. Mouth-watering, especially for the Aussies. Adesanya, Whittaker, undisputed middleweight crown, and how could you not love both fighters, man? So hard to call. So I'll just leave it to you guys, and I'll start with G. G, who you got on the main event, sir?
Oh, thank you, John.
It's hard, isn't it?
You're right. It is straight down the middle. Adesanya, he's definitely gifted. There's no doubt about that. His stand-up, his unorthodox striking, his angles. I mean, he's up there with Pettis at his peak, Anderson at his peak. He's got that kind of natural ability that you can't really teach, because then everyone would be fighting in that style. Whittaker, some people forget he started off at welterweight. when he was in the Tough House with the UK versus Australia, and they called it the Smashes, which was a play on the cricket Ashes. And this has got a bit of a down under rivalry, Kiwi versus Aussie, cricket, rugby, blah blah blah, and now cage fighting. So Adesanya, he's in his kickboxing days with the boxing gloves on, he had some pretty spectacular knockouts, but obviously this is MMA. So he's got the striking. But I was watching just before this podcast, I was watching the Gastelum fight for the interim, and he did get tagged by pretty big punches from Gastelum.
What a fight, man.
And I think Gastelum couldn't follow up because he was quite shorter, which Robert isn't. And the other thing for Whittaker is a lot of people don't realise he was a Commonwealth wrestling competitor. So he's a international level wrestler, which he showed against Yoel Romero, because Yoel tried to take him down quite a few times, and I think Robert sweeped him once and got him on the ground. So and obviously Yoel's an Olympic silver medalist, I think Sydney 2000. So it's a tough one, and I'm leaning towards Whittaker, but the slight doubt in my mind is the I think 2 fights Whittaker pulled out almost the night before, with various conditions, and even though we get told what it was, you never know exactly what was behind closed doors, exactly what it was, and how close was he to heart failure or kidney failure or whatever this crazy dieting does to you. But you want a prediction, John?
Go for it.
Okay. Only because Whittaker's one of the more genuine guys. In this modern McGregor age, everyone's trying to build a persona, a caricature of themselves, and you get more likes and you get more hits, and that means more money, blah, blah, blah. It's a formula, So I'm going to go for Whittaker. If he's healthy, I think he'll deploy his wrestling more, and he'll make it more of an all-round MMA fight. So I'm going for Whittaker.
Fair play, man. Good pick. Kieran, what about you, sir? Who walks out undisputed champ?
I mean, I'll just love this fight, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of both guys. Whittaker is as tough as they come. Adesanya's got that kickboxing style that's so unique, and coming from a kickboxing background, a taekwondo background, it just appeals to me. I like the way he moves, I like the way he kicks, just the way he throws combinations together, and how he flows in the octagon. It's just it really gets me going, and it's something I really like. But for this fight, it's going to be a hell of a fight for Adesanya. Whittaker, with the toughest guy he's ever gone up against. We've seen that Whittaker can take a hell of a beating. Both fights against Yoel, he had some sort of injury. I think one time it was something to do with his ACL, the other time it was something to do with his hand. For me in this fight, for Adesanya to win, he's got to outpoint Whittaker. He's got to fight smart. He's got to get in, out, get a few shots, get back out without taking any damage himself. He's also got to look sharp for Whittaker's ground game that G just mentioned. If he gets taken out to the floor, Whittaker's going to dominate the round. He's going to get a 10-8, 10-7 round. But I think Adesanya has shown against Gastelum and against Brunson that he has got some takedown defence. It might be limited, but there is some there, and it's probably improved upon it, and they've probably worked on this camp. But I'm going to take Adesanya by decision. I think she's going to outpoint Whittaker. I think we're going to be. I think it's going to be Anu.
I knew, yeah, man. I mean, it's so hard to call, but I can see it happening, man. I can totally see that happening. Mick, let's hear your thoughts. Who gets a hand raise here, sir?
Well, this is the thing, right? This is easily. I know we always say this whenever it comes to the main event. Recently, the UFC have just every single time they've been able to pull some of that out of the bag where you go, I've been waiting for this one for years. And then next time we talk, it's like, I've been waiting for this one for years.
Totally.
But the matchmakers are doing a great job. But this one, it's going to be a tough one because, are we talking about Robert Whittaker like a pre-injury, those pullouts, Whittaker, like the badass? Hopefully he's the same guy because, you look at this matchup and it's amazing. Like Stylebender he's like Eddie Gordo, man, from that video game back in the day. You know what I mean? The guy just moves like something out of the Matrix. Yeah. I personally think he moves way better than Anderson Silva did when Anderson Silva moved well. If you want to know the truth, he just seems to have that. He's like I'm going to sound like a right ponce when I say this word, but he's got this ethereal thing about him where you look at it and go, you look like a human, but you don't move like a human.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing is, we get a tip top Robert Whittaker with that boxing, because he will go in there, because against Gastelum, man, I'll tell you, Gastelum got him on the inside, and I'll tell you something, he couldn't finish him, but Whittaker is a different animal completely, and it's going to be an absolute, it's just going to be an absolute banger of a fight. Prediction is the killer though, because my heart says Robert Whittaker. Bobby Knuckles all the way, man. But it might be one of those times where you just turn around and go, do you know what? There's a new kid on the block sort of scenario. That's, and the always the thing with this when they're doing undisputed, when they go for with an interim, and they build it up. It either goes big or it fizzles, man. And this one, I think, is going to be one of those. It's either going to cement Robert Whittaker as a complete and utter savage badass, or it's going to be right. Okay, we're in a new era. And that's. I think I really do know. All I know is it's going to be absolutely a winner. At the end of the day, you know what my prediction is? Like Clubber Lang, man. My prediction is pain. That's exactly it. Yeah. It's going to be good though.
It's going to be some fight for sure, man. Guys, it's time for the final part of the show. It's my favourite answer and fan questions. I'll remind the panel of the one rule we have in the podcast, and it's simply this: don't wait your turn. The floor is yours, guys. So if you're ready, we'll start with the Twitter questions. At Drockett6969. Can't wait for UFC 243, but if we are honest, outside the main event and co-main, they didn't stack it much for wanting the biggest turnout in history. I mean Diego Lima on the main card, but still can't wait for Hooker versus Al, Whittaker versus Izzy. I mean, I suppose it isn't the most stacked card, but what are you going to do? It's breathtaking, the main event, isn't it? So does that make up for it?
Hey. At the end of the day, you've got two really good fights, and then we will see with this woman's with the ladies invisible division. We'll see how that one will go. But like Tuivasa, you've got to remember when you're doing all these territory things that I'm convinced if they did one in the Antarctic, they'd be able to get they'd just be able to get some badass Inuits somewhere to fight. So Tuivasa's there, but. Like the guy he's fighting, he lost to Walt Harris. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, I'd be Walt Harris on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're like with one hand tied behind the back.
Right.
So do you know what? What was the gentleman's name from Twitter?
Let's see. It was at Drockett6969.
Look at
maybe Dr. Ockett. I don't know.
Dr. Rocket, listen, man, don't be greedy. You got some pretty good ones. At the end of the day, if you don't like it, I can just force feed you Bellator. How's that? Okay, you're doing all right, man. Yeah, or even worse, we can watch that guy from Geordie Shore. All right.
But do you think I'm not sure what time it's on for the Americans. Is it their peak time in the evening, or is it in
it's like midday for them. It's a fantastic. I know it's a market the UFC wants to go into because it's a good market for the American audience. Yeah. I mean, over here we're still buggered, but over in America,
I thought it was afternoon here. No, are we screwed?
No. Well, Sky Bet timings are saying it's in the morning. It's like main events be like 5:30. So.
Oh fuck.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Which 12 hours? Right? Are we 12 hours behind the colonies now?
It's about 10 hours. To New Zealand's 12.
The colonies. I'm terrible, aren't I? Yeah. What's that country? There used to be a prison. Oh yeah, it's Australia. Yeah. Sorry, guys. As my friend John Will always says, you guys aren't the smartest guys in the world. We robbed bread and you sent us to paradise. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
That's fine. Let's see. We've got at Stocky2210. I hear calls for banning UFC ring girls here in Australia. Political correctness has gone mental. The majority of people can't stand it, but the minority seem to be the loudest with their lefty views. Most think it's a wank what they did with the F1 girls. It's a joke. These people are given a voice. I think that's the same everywhere, isn't it?
Just tell them to fuck off. Sometimes the ring girls are the best thing on the card.
You better believe it, man. Ariane and Celeste, yeah, always right. I tell you something. Whoever's going to complain in Australia, let's put it this way: they had ring girls at the last one that they had in the Middle East, man. Look, if they were going to get rid of ring girls anywhere, I think it might have been there. I was expecting Omar Bakri to come out at one stage with a card over his head. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah, but Abu Dhabi and Dubai in the UAE is not the Middle East, as in the Middle East. It's a tourist hotspot, and if you've been there, you see more than that.
Oh, yeah, I've been to Dubai, yeah.
I mean, if it happened to Saudi Arabia or Yemen, then I agree with you. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, even someone like me keeps quiet there. I'll tell you that much. I'm very well behaved when I go there. When I go to Jeddah, you wouldn't think I was the same person. I'll tell you that much.
He's a saint out there.
You drink tea all day. Yeah,
yeah, man. The last thing I want to do is lose my hands.
Jesus. At Call You Out 7, name one way Masvidal can beat Diaz.
Name in the face, back it against
I could name you about 5.
Smoke a bigger joint. Yeah.
Do you know what? The last thing I want to do is be getting involved in any postcode beef, right? Because this thing here is good. This is like Biggie Smalls and Tupac right now, but in the octagon. Yeah, it's already way too gangster for. I actually think Masvidal's got a really good chance. To tell you the truth.
Masvidal's going to take it. I've said it a few times.
He's old school gangster, man. I'm telling you, I'm not neither. I wouldn't want to meet either of them in a dark alley or a well lit alley, for that matter.
I think for this fight to stick with the baddest motherfucker, blah blah blah. You know, the hard gangster. Yeah. That in between rounds, instead of having water, they should smoke joints. You know?
You're really pushing for this weed, aren't you?
No, well, I actually think that they should be drinking out of water bottles out of a brown paper bag.
Right.
And halfway,
that would be the bum.
That would be. Yeah, I'm the old, right? I thought postcode beef was like pulled pork, man. You know what I mean? That's how old I am.
Very good. At no turn unstoned. Thoughts on McGregor versus Edgar. Also, Tony Ferguson is the type of guy to poke your fingers with his eyes. Very good. McGregor Edgar, it's not going to happen, is it?
I don't think that's happening, is it?
Yeah. No, Edgar's wanted to go down to 135, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the last I heard.
But I thought McGregor is more favoured to fight Justin Gaethje.
Oh, Justin Gaethje, I did see that as well. Yeah. He's linked to everyone depending on what he's been doing that week.
He'll be linked to you soon, John, if you keep talking.
I know. I better watch myself getting confident with those 2 knees. Yeah, man.
It'll be a Scottish-Irish angle.
Yeah, man.
Take them away. Let's see, we've got at Dale Swarell, thoughts on Vanderlei Silva doing bare knuckle boxing? Let's be honest, he's been doing it for years.
Whoa, man, Vanderlei Silva is 10 years younger than me, and I swear to God,
he looks about 90. Yeah,
and he's had plastic surgery done, like literally. Like that, he had surgery to make him look less of a monster than he is now. I swear to God. I'm a big fan of Vanderlei from back in their shoot the box days.
Damn right,
but
man.
when you look at him and you look at Shogun and you look at Ninja, you look at those guys now, and oh my good God, man! I look at them and God forbid it ever happens, but like, I look at them and I just go, you guys are like Chris Benoit waiting to happen, because they've just had. What, I've gone too dark already, have I?
No,
but you know what I mean. It's like you are a good advert for not getting hit in the head much, and you're talking to a guy who's got brain damage and a hearing aid. Like, you know, I got the memo pretty late, but those guys haven't even had the memo sent out to them yet. Yeah, so if he goes into bare knuckle boxing, I don't know what next. I don't know. There is nothing after that, is it?
I think that's it. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's the last stop on the train. Yeah,
I think that's the last one.
For BKFC, it's a huge draw in to get him on the card, but how much money is he taking to have these fights, and how much damage is it going to do to him? Because it just seems BKFC can only make money off former UFC guys. You know what I mean? They've got no sort of talent of their own. And we had the guy that was like, it was on Tough, and he got made into a meme. We've got Vanderlei now, Artem Lobov. It's just, they can't make their own stars. They just take old guys in the UFC and take them over.
Joe Riggs fought over here in England, and I turned up and I walked in, and a friend of mine who was actually fighting on the card got me the tickets, and we were VIP. And I walked in, and Dave Courtney was the MC, and I literally walked straight back out. And if you don't know who Dave Courtney is,
Cosby, is it?
You know who he is. You know,
no.
Like that profession. Google him. He's like, if you imagine, I get accused of looking like Dominic Littlewood a lot. Yeah. So imagine a really cockney, awful Dominic Littlewood. He literally is. He's like a Guy Ritchie movie. It just come to life. He's the most caricature ever, and he was there. And he was just awful. But Melvin Gillard fought over here as well. He fought a friend of mine. My friend was fighting again. Not the same guy, but he dropped him. And then it was Melvin, and they got back up and absolutely like annihilated him afterwards. But my boy Leighton Brady dropped him he dropped it like it was hot. Mm-hmm. But he got straight back up and did it. But BKB are making it. They do make a fortune. But I swear to God, it's a pretty sad sight to see some of these guys now. You know what I mean? It doesn't do any combat sport any favors. I was speaking to Brad Pickett at an event earlier this year. He was at Leeds, and he was just saying that BKB, the only reason he took a fight on the ACB was because they gave him enough money to warrant it. But if he hadn't been offered that amount of money, he wouldn't have took it. It was saying with the BKB, basically put enough money in front of him to the point where he couldn't really refuse it. So it's. I think it's a case of.
So these guys are getting paid well then. Is that what we're saying? Really well. Right.
That's the thing. That's if the promoters and shows upheld their end of the bargain, because we know previously BKFC haven't.
That's right. That's the Bass Rutten one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you see the BKB will probably be paying roughly the same as some of those guys who are going to fight on Bellator coming up.
Yeah.
So and UFC are infamous for paying awful money to anybody who's anybody below
10 and 10.
Anybody? It's unbelievable.
8 and 8, wasn't it at once? Yeah.
Oh God,
ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple of guys who fought 3 and 3. So
come on. Bellator's last card, the 228 one in California, some of the guys were getting paid $2.5.
Oh, wow. That's outrageous, man.
You make more money
in 2019. That's disgusting.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do it.
You see, unfortunately, this will be for another time, John. On the I'll do a round table on it. It's like, how will history judge some of these guys? Because when we look at, because it's still at the embryonic stages of this sport.
Yeah,
and when you look back now, and the last thing we want is you don't want a sport where it's just going to be full of washed up pugs at the end like boxing, and and it's going that way, because it's like, the appeal is unbelievable, and unfortunately,
the thing with boxing is if you do make it to a very high level, you keep most of the money, because UFC and Bellator are promotions owned by, there were private companies, now public companies. They keep most of the money. I think UFC keeps 70% of the total revenue.
Exactly that. The one thing I always say is, when Dana White managed to get Brock Lesnar back, the first thing he said was, "Tell me, how does Vince McMahon run his business?" Because it's exactly the same game. Now
you're right. Dana does admire Vince. You're right. I've heard that before.
Yeah. Hey, look at Vince, man. He went. That guy is ruthless.
He took over his father's business, WWF as it was then, in a regional Tennessee or something.
He shut them all down or something, right?
Yeah. And then
he just expanded across the territories. I tell you what, I don't know. I know it's a bit of a sidebar, gents, but if you ever get the chance, watch the Iron Sheik documentary.
Yeah. I love the Iron Sheik, man. Follow that guy on Twitter. Every tweets, just go fuck yourself, innit? It's brilliant.
But there's two great things about the Iron Sheik. First time when he went to Madison Square Garden, and he was offered money to break Bruno Sammartino's leg for real, and he was like, no, he didn't do that. And then the other one is, I think he was wrestling Hulk Hogan, and if you Google it, you'll see it. But he's got the biggest boner ever while he's wrestling. And like, I was like, this is bullshit. And then I Googled it and I was like, oh my good God. And it's something you can never unsee. Like, honestly, I bleached my eyes out. At one stage, I was like, God
ready
almighty,
for the camel clutch, is it?
No, I think that's in the female. No, I can't say that. That's terrible. No, I just completely did. Boom, boom, yeah. Anyway, back to the fans' questions.
Right. Here we go. Off the Iron Sheik. Where do we get to? Silver boxing.
We digress.
Willis, Theo 8. Covington versus Usman will be the most boring title fight in UFC history. Prove me wrong.
I don't think it will, because what I think we've seen in the past, when you get two wrestlers that are sort of equally matched and they can't beat each other the rest of the match, then start throwing bombs, and that's when we get big knockouts. Tyrone Woodley, we saw when he had to strike with guys, he could knock guys down. But I think this time we're going to see the first couple of rounds. Let's see who the better wrestler is. If it breaks down to being a standstill, we'll start to see who the best striker is. And I think, it'll take some warming up getting into the fight. I think it might probably be to that third, fourth round where we'll see them really start going into it. But it should be an exciting fight.
I like Covington's style, man. I know it's not trendy to praise the guy, but like when I was watching that fight with Robbie Lawler, like he pieced him up, and the commentary was so biased. They were doing what everybody was supporting Lawler was doing. They were like, "Well, just watch out, a big right hand's coming from Lawler. Just wait till you see this." And he had no answer. He had nothing for him.
He's loading up. Look, he's cocking it down. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I was going to say that, John, that Covington, he's not a knockout artist. He's not, blah, blah, blah. But he's got a bit of a systematic way of that aggressive pressure. And the good thing with Lawler was he wasn't staying out of range. He was prepared to mix it. Yeah. And if Lawler, unleashed a bomb, he probably would have been knocked out till next week. But I like, to a point, Covington's style. He's busy, he's aggressive. And he can mix it up. He takes you down.
Definitely mixes up. That's the big thing, aye.
And he can, smack a few, but he hasn't got that natural power. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the trash talking's going to be boring after the first 2 minutes, awful, but then,
I'll be cringe.
All I'm waiting for is one guy turning up in a Nigerian football shirt and the other one wearing a MAGA hat. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. That's how it's going to go. It's going to be just so ridiculous.
The Nigerian thing annoys me more than the MAGA hat, because, like, I always say this, like, if that's the case, then, like, if he's the first Nigerian champion, then Michael Bisping was the first champion from Cyprus. Like, you're just marketing it because you want to have the UFC in Africa. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's very, very cynical. But again, like, literally, you've just hit the nail on the head. It's like, it's when you meet someone on St. Patrick's Day and you find out, like, he pulls a Johnny Depp line on you. Yeah. I'm 1/16th Cherokee and 1/16th Irish. And I'm like, I'm 100% fucked off, mate. See you later. I'm trying to drink here. Exactly. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting, I think it'll be an interesting fight. It's going to be boring as hell for the build-up. But again, I think it's going to be wrestle. No, that isn't working. Strike. Okay. And then it'll be, I think it's going to be one of those, it is what it is sort of scenarios. We just take it like it, lump it. It might surprise us, though.
Hopefully, man. Let's move on to Facebook questions. We've got Francisco Barreto. Middleweight is stacked. Cannonier, Costa, Adesanya, Gaslam, Till, Romero, Whittaker. Lord have mercy. That's not a question, mate, but thanks very much. It is stacked. That's a lot of...
I was actually going to say, John, I'm looking forward to the next fight after Whittaker and Adesanya, because Costa's going to be the next guy. So that would be, Whittaker versus Costa or Adesanya.
And he's going to be there. They'll probably,
I think he's going to go down Adesanya a bit because he doesn't like him. He calls him a skinny clown and stuff like that. So should be interesting.
It's good, man. I'm excited. I love that fight with Romero as well.
We've
got Miles Painter asking, other than the headliner, what other Aussies have a shot at being show stealers? I mean,
two of us. I mean, if you get that big highlight, if you get that big highlight reel KO, I think he could be a show stealer. But maybe Hooker if he can get the win. Maybe I don't know.
I think a Hangman. It's got. Well, I mean, just that fight in general. I don't know if he would. I don't know. I don't know how that fight's going to go down.
No, I think the Quinta Hooker fight will be that'll be the one. You know, I mean, that's the only thing.
Who's
That's
the big boy at light
this.
heavyweight? Is it Jimmy Crute? Is he on this card? That big Aussie boy. He was in the Contender Series. I don't know if anyone saw him. He submitted my man Paul Craig.
I don't think he is, no.
Undefeated, I'm sure. I've not checked the card. But if he's on it, I would imagine he'd be a show stealer. Amazing jiu-jitsu.
Oh.
Anyway, last one from Facebook. Brian Lacey's asking 2 questions. The first one is, does Paulo Costa deserve a title shot against the winner, and who would he stand the best chance of beating?
Yes, and Adesanya, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too, mate.
I think I'm inclined to agree with G as well for that one. I think stylistically, it works better for him.
Yeah, definitely.
He was throwing some tidy wheel kicks in that Romero fight, wasn't he? I wasn't expecting that.
Eddie Gordo time, man.
That's it, for sure. Part 2 of Brian's question was, now BJ Penn has been released by the UFC, which promotion do you expect to see him in? Bellator, BKB, TK Maxx, or Dog the Bounty Hunter?
BKB.
KFC.
Yeah. KFC, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's sad.
BKFC, I love him, aren't they? Because we've seen in the videos they like to bare knuckle brawl. So
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, man, you're right.
I tell you what, the one thing is, man, that he just doesn't need the money anyway. Yeah, and he's.
He never really has, though, Mick, has he? He's always been, money has never really been a motivation for a guy born into a. I wouldn't say a privileged life, but you know what I mean.
No, but there's a point where even the most hard nosed of individuals going to have to turn around and go, do you know what? I've had my time. You know, as I said, the last thing he wants to do is he doesn't want to be a Hawaiian Ken Shamrock, does he? You know what I mean? That's without sounding bad. He's got to give up sometime, man.
When was the last time he won a fight? For God's sake, 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, I think he's just addicted to the glory, isn't he? He wants it back, but he's never going to get it.
Never going to get it. No, you're absolutely right, mate. Well, we end on BJ Penn's potential death there.
I'll tell you what.
The obituary.
I want to see, as I think I said last time, I really want to see a matchup between Conor McGregor's last opponent in the bar and BJ Penn's last opponent on the pavement. Because I'll tell you something, I think you can get those two guys for a song. You know what I mean? It's not going to cost a lot of money to get either of those guys.
It's got a good website, though. BJPenn.com. It's all right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll tell you, for another time, John, what we need to do is we need to work out fantasy real-life fights with MMA fighters. I want to see the guy that Matt Serra just sat on in the restaurant.
That was so funny.
I said,
and he's still mouthing off. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Calm down, dude. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Matt Serra's like one of the scariest men I've ever met. And who smiles at you at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tremendous. That was one of the greatest moments in jiu-jitsu history when he sat in that guy in the restaurant, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought Ryan Hall's triangle in the restaurant.
I haven't seen that one. Everybody tells that. So was in a restaurant as well, right?
That was in a restaurant as well. Ryan Hall.
Same guy.
Ryan Hall played. He played off his back far too long, I thought. But you know what I mean? Everyone's a critic, right? I just like the way that Matt Serra just went full badass, man. Takedown, smash pass, sat on him. Like it wasn't even a mount. He just sat on him and just slapped him round the face. Yeah. Like literally, if it was in prison, they would have been playing a bit of soft music 30 seconds later. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah, the old Angle 5, man. Bad news.
Oh, tremendous. Well, there you have it, guys. That's lightened the mood from BJ Penn's death. UFC 243 this weekend.
to Matt Serra doing the wild monkey dance. Yeah,
man, for sure. Aussie, as they say, can't wait, man. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in some amazing questions and comments, and we'll be back on Sunday with a reaction show. Be sure to check out. In the meantime, let me thank our panel here today, starting with, from the awesome Newsome MMA, Kieran Cobley. Kieran, let everyone know where to check out your work, and thank you again for coming back on, mate.
Yes, you can check out Newsome MMA on YouTube for the podcast. We also do regular fight interviews for pre-fight, also regular attendant events. So this month we've got Cage Wars in Birmingham we're attending, and next month we're attempting a double header covering Cage Warriors London and Cage Warriors Bellator London back to back.
Nice.
Logistically, we're just trying to work out the hours for the work. You can also check out Newsome on Twitter. You can check out myself on Twitter as well. Cobley reporting. I've also got my own little project that's coming out soon that's to do with my uni work. That's going to be on kickboxing. So keep a look out for that as well. But yeah, cheers for having me on, man.
Always a pleasure, man. And G, it's always a pleasure getting your time. Let everyone know about MMA Shower and where to check you out, sir.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's been great to be on your podcast. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter. Let's Talk MMA. Hopefully, having a few fighter interviews on my podcast. A couple of Bellator fighters I'm trying to line up. So, yeah, thank you, John, for the podcast, and it's always been good to be on your show.
Pleasure, my friend. And finally, to Mr. Mick, Tully. Mick, it's a blast like usual, man. Let everyone know about Mick's Martial Arts podcasting. Come back on anytime, please.
Thanks to the guys, man. It's been a great evening, man, and you saved me from RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah, I didn't think an evening in with my wife could get any more banal than it could. But yeah, introduced 12 transsexuals and we're laughing, right? It's awful. But yeah, it's been great chatting to you. Yeah, you can catch me on MixedMartialArts.com. You can catch me on all social media, Woma TV. We've just done a great interview with Kieran Gracie about his Bellator debut that's coming up soon. And yeah, we've got some really, really cool stuff coming out. And you'll like this, guys. Nothing to do, well, sort of to do with MMA, because he taught Anderson Silva how to fight. We've got an interview coming up with that well-known liar about being in the CIA, Mr. Steven Seagal, baby.
Wow. You mean Sensei Steven Seagal? Can we get it right?
Actually, Sheehan. Let's hope he doesn't listen to this one, man, because I've groveled to get this one.
Yeah,
so cool.
Sensei. Yeah, man, we had him lined up in Moscow and they wouldn't give us visas, man. They must have done a background check. But yeah, you can catch me on all social media, Woma TV, www.mixedmartialarts.com. That's MICKS Martial Arts. And yeah, you get Woma Magazine. You'll catch me and John in there soon too. But thanks, gents.
Always a pleasure, my friend. And if you've liked this podcast, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube, you name it, man. We'll just search for Martial Arts Chat. Like us on Facebook.com/Martial Arts Chat. Follow us on Twitter @Martial Arts Chat. And remember, back on Sunday with our reaction roundtable for Aussie 243. I'm John Boy McElroy. Catch you next time on the Martial Arts Chat podcast. Boom, there's your dinner.
Change your heart.